What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Wet Shavers Round Table, where we answer your questions. You guys can be a part of the show. And today we've got a very awesome and special guest. I want to thank Maximilian, and I don't want to butcher your last name, Max. Tell me how you say it, sir.
Heusler.
Heusler.
Yeah.
Of Maximilian Must Know YouTube fame. His YouTube channel is really awesome. Been very inspirational to me. He's a Frag guy into perfumes and fragrances and wet shaving and all kinds of other cool stuff. And so I just want to say thanks, Max. Appreciate you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have Monty Pape. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. How's everybody else out there?
All right. And then we have, hopefully, if we're not having weird issues, David Gonzalez, the Truth. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, and yes, you guys cannot keep me off the air. I will be heard, damn it.
We also have our beloved Captain Douglas Smythe.
Greetings, folks. It's good to be back. I wish I had something pseudo-intellectual to say at this point, but I don't. Who else have we got?
He hasn't been drinking enough.
Yeah. We also have our favorite Aussie from down under, Shave the Man himself, Con Kazazidis. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Good morning and good evening to our friends in the Northern Hemisphere, or at least in the United States.
Yes, and you guys can catch us every week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
EDT!
Or if you're in EDT or Eau de Toilette.
Which is ironic.
Yes. Or you can catch us at 9 a.m. AEST in Australia. So there was going to be something I was going to say, but I don't remember. So, oh yeah, and you guys can tweet us your questions at WS Roundtable, and we will try to answer your questions today if you have them. So, real quick, let's get over to our special guest, Max. And Max, I just wanted to ask you a few questions so our audience out there can kind of get to know you a little bit better.
Yep.
So you do reviews on YouTube, fragrances. I know you talk about shaving sometimes and grooming and men's fashion and style.
Yep.
So how'd you get started in colognes?
Well, so, you know, in 8th grade, a friend of mine came in one day, and he was like, a lot of girls were paying attention to him for whatever reason, and I was trying to find out what he was wearing because he smelled different. It turns out it was Fahrenheit, basically. And since then I just always kept a rotation of a certain amount of fragrances up there in my collection. And then a couple of years ago, I made the mistake. I always used to go to this store, Barney's, to get my clothing and sneakers and stuff like that. And one day I made the mistake of walking by the fragrance counter, and I saw there were all these fragrances that weren't in Sephora. They weren't in department stores, and so I tried a few. And I'm not gonna lie, the saleswoman was really, really hot. She talked me into dropping a lot of money that day.
Yeah.
Since then, I would go on YouTube and I'd watch other people review, and I was just like, gee, I think I could do this. And so I just started. I think the first fragrance I ever reviewed was one by Bond No. 9 called New Harlem, which was really a big deal a couple of years ago. And ever since then, I just I've kept at it.
Yeah. I know you've got a pretty extensive collection.
Yeah.
You want to say how many colognes you have?
Right now, I think it's 506 bottles.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he is the ultimate perfume collector. It's amazing.
Like the Marty of cologne.
Or a hoarder, depending on who you speak to.
Yeah.
We don't use that word.
Depending on where you're from.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't use the H word.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, guys, just so you know out there, don't tweet us that you can't see Max. Apparently, we're having issues on that end, but we can hear him.
I'm actually upset. I don't want to kill Apple here, but I downloaded iOS 9, and it's been real buggy. And if I don't have a Wi-Fi connection, my cameras don't work. It's really crazy. But
dang you,
it
Apple.
is what it is. Yeah, Apple, man.
So
yeah, he's not in the bathroom totally uninvolved with the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I suspect he is.
No. Usually I am. I'm not right now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
If you could sum it up kind of real quickly, what is your YouTube about? I kind of did that for you earlier, but...
Yeah, like, so basically, I try to do a lot of different things. Like, definitely, there's a fragrance review every week. For the last 3 years, there's been a fragrance review every week. I've gotten a lot more into wet shaving stuff recently, because I was talking earlier about how, you know, when I was into wet shaving big time, like 5 years ago. What happened is, at that time, when I left, it was just boring me. Like, there wasn't a lot of artisan houses out there. It was like really, everything was dominated by these houses from in England and like Castle Forbes and like, you know, those places. And so I was just watching videos like a while back, and this I think the Shaving Evangelist, his name is.
Yeah.
Every day I watched him. He had a soap from a different company that I'd never heard of. And I was just like, what's going on? And I looked into it, and I just found like this artisan movement exploded. And it excited me. I was like, wow, this is crazy. You know, like, I mean, I'd known about Razor Rock. I've used Razor Rock forever, but I didn't know much more than that. And so I just tried to get into it. You know, I live pretty close to Pasteur Pharmacy in New York City. And so I was able to sort of stay up on what's trending there for the most part. They don't really do a lot of indie stuff until recently, actually. But so I do wet shaving stuff. I also do some fashion stuff, and I do a lot of talking about, like, I have a relationship with a website called Decant Shop. They send me samples every month, and I talk about those. So it's a lot of different content, but mostly it's centered around fragrances and shaving, mainly fragrances.
And the Decant Shop, just so you guys, if you haven't been checking that out, it's a really great website. If you want to try a scent and you don't have it, you can get a very small sample for a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah.
And hopefully not blind buy something that you're not going to like.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this thing here on my phone, and it's got some really interesting notes. We've got rum, coconut and lime, tobacco, coffee, cannabis essential oil, vintage musk, vanilla, cumin, and Atlas cedar.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, basically, so I'm actually sober now. I haven't like done drugs or drank in a long time. But I'm in New York City. I was in my 20s in the early 2000s, and I was a little bit wild. And so I really enjoyed that era. Like, I just had a lot of fun in that time. And I had an idea for a fragrance, and I wanted to get it bespoke. I wanted it to be a 101. So I went to a couple of indie fragrance producers, and a few of them, I told them my idea, and a few of them were like, "Yo, you're crazy! Like, what are you talking about? Like, no one's gonna do a fragrance like that." Because initially, just so you know, I told them I wanted the notes to be like cocktails, drugs, hookers, and regret. And a few people were like, "What does regret smell like?" I felt like saying, "Come to my house, I'll show you what regret smells." But so this woman, Sarah McCartney, who has she has a niche house, an indie house called 4160 Tuesdays, and I've just been friends with her for a while. And I told her the idea, and she's like, "Not only do I want to do it, like, if you can get a little bit of noise for it, we can maybe sell this if you're okay with it." And so she worked on it. She sent me some samples. We went over them. You know, I told her what I liked, what I didn't like. And eventually we got to a product that I was, like, really, really happy with. I let the people who kind of went through that era of my life with me smell it and see if it was sort of authentic to that. And they loved it. And so, we made it, and Lucky Scent bought it. And now they're selling it.
Well, it sounds like an awesome cologne. I would love to try that.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank
congratulations you. On being sober, and
thank you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Now this is kind of the part where we kind of like to highlight some, I guess, different gear. So I'll start with you, Max. Do you have any products you'd like to kind of mention?
Well, yeah. So Doug actually sent me a couple of aftershaves a while ago. One of them was called, is it K? Is that the name of it?
1K.
1K.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you something. Al Finn was my favorite aftershave. Like I told Al Finn, to me, is like genius. But 1K is like that's definitely my favorite aftershave right now.
Wow.
I've been using that every day, and I'm telling you, I probably don't have as much as you guys, but I have a good 60 or 70 aftershaves.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so right now I'm using that. As far as like what I'm actually like shaving creams or whatever, you know, I really like Katie's Bubbles. I really just feel like he's doing great stuff. And so like he sent me a couple of things. I love there's one that smells like Fruit Loops.
Yep.
I love that one. And then there's another one that's like a take on Creed's Green Irish Swede. I think it's called
Celtic Knot.
Yeah, there you go.
Celtic Knot.
Yep.
So yeah, that, and then as far as like a fragrance right now that I'm really liking, so there's a Xerjoff. There's this Italian niche house called Xerjoff, and they did a scent called 1861 Noxos. Yeah, and it smells like, I don't know, there's a fragrance that Terry Mugler did called Pure Havana, which sort of smells like cherry tobacco and cigars.
Yep.
And to me, this is a much better version of that. Like, it lasts all day. There's, like, no cheap alcohol smell. So, like, really those three products right now are really in heavy rotation for me.
Nice. Well, let's jump over to David Gonzalez. What would you like to highlight this week, sir?
I'm actually going to highlight something that I actually haven't even used yet. I just got a mail call yesterday from my boy Justin over at Shave Revolution. One of the popular things that are going on right now is that Saponificio Veracino 70th anniversary. So got that going on right now. And just, I don't know if you guys can see it good. I don't know the quality of this camera or not, but the packaging is probably about as good a packaging as any shave soap ever in history.
Yeah.
And the aftershave is a nice glass bottle. The tin right here, of course, it is tin, but it has this embossing here. It's just really, really impressive.
Yeah, that stuff looks awesome. What did you say it smelled like again?
It's comparable to, I don't know, for those of you guys that have, again, I don't know fragrances like Maxwood, so I can't tell you nothing like no mainstream fragrance that matches with it, but a soap that I tried previously that it somewhat reminds me of is Dapper Dragon's signature scent. It kind of smells like that, except the citrus notes on it are not as intense. You know, with the signature scent from Dapper Dragon,
yeah,
a bit strong to it even makes your nose hairs tingle.
Yeah.
So
is it super?
This one has a little bit more of a. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. The first time I use it's actually going to be tomorrow for a YouTube video. So we'll see how that goes.
David, have you used it yet?
No, tomorrow.
Cool, man. Well, that's awesome.
I'm going to be carrying that soon. Actually, I got a shipment coming in of that as well. Super stoked. I have yet to smell it.
Nice.
No, again, it's really nice. Again, it's just without the citrus notes are not as strong as the signature scent from Dapper Dragon, so it makes it just a much more smoother, pleasant scent in general.
Nice. Marty.
All right. For me, I'm going to highlight kind of what I'm going to be using this week, actually. I woke up this morning after the gym, and I went to the gym then kind of getting ready to shave, and I didn't know what to use, so I asked a few friends. And they picked DR Arlington, so that kind of got me on the going back to old stuff. So I'm going to be using, kind of going old school, bring back Arco.
Nice.
I'm going to be using my vintage Williams. The always popular Spike.
Nice.
Palmolive Green. And then Musco Real. So I just kind of going back to some of the older stuff that, I love my artisan stuff. Everybody knows I have a lot of it. But kind of going back to I won't say the beginnings, obviously, but going back to some more roots.
Yeah, cool, man.
Dude, on that Arco stuff, I did a video on Arco.
I know, unfortunately, I watched it.
Dude, what's it called? I graded down like 3 sticks of Arco into a glass jar, and I named the YouTube video Arco de Condre. Dude, I got like 15. I got like a bunch of thumbs down on that video. I've never had so many thumbs down on a video. Like, I really offended people with that video. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be such a sensitive subject.
Apparently you don't mess with Martin de Condre.
I pissed people off with that video. I swear I didn't mean it. It was just really bad.
Well, this week before I let Douglas and Con talk, I wanted to highlight a couple things. Tonsorial Parlor. I love this one. This is a Katie's Bubbles and Italian Barber team up. And Max, if you like that Fruit Loops one, I think you'll really like this one if you can get your hands on it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It's got that fruitiness to it, but there's like some floral stuff going on underneath. Really nice. Then I've got to highlight this because Max is on the show. He's the guy that kind of inspired me. Penhaligon's Sartorial and also Con. I have to give you thanks too, sir, because both of you guys were going on about how awesome this was.
I love that.
Max did a video on this stuff, and he just told me before the show, and I never realized this, that this is like a modern version of Clubman.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I
said LP number 9. LP number 9 is their masterpiece.
I love that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Demion. Demion is my thing from Penhaligon's, man. I love it.
They're all great, but I mean, LP number 9 just stands on its own. It's like magical. It really takes you to this other, like Narnia. It's I can't even put my finger on what they're doing there. It's awesome.
They just did 3 oud scents.
Wow, they're paying attention.
yeah, definitely. I mean, they're expensive. They're more expensive than regular Penhaligon, but they're cool. I mean, I won't go crazy over them, but they're cool.
Yeah.
No, let's check them out.
I also need to highlight. I want to make
Sorry,
sure
Rico.
I say this. No, you're great. You guys are good. That's what we're here for. The Switchback 400 Classic Replica 24mm Duro Suave Synthetic Shave Brush. I have to mention this because this is so cool. I haven't used it yet. It's got this awesome handle by Crown King Shaving, and you can change out heads. You've got 2 different synthetics. You got the, and I'm not remembering which one right off the bat. Douglas, you might have to help me out. But one of them, Douglas, killed some teddy bears.
No, so both of them. They're different species of teddy bear. That's teddy bear hair. The one on the right is that's the Suave, and on the left is the Duro. And I do want to make mention, as you're displaying them now, that people, when you're, I didn't think of this beforehand, but when you're interchanging them, when you're unscrewing and screwing on the different knots, make sure you hold it by the base or the knot, the metal rim, because people are holding it by the knot and twisting it on and off.
And twisting the knot.
2 of my testers have ripped them. I'm like, guys, what did you do? And like, yeah, so I want to make that very clear.
So Petsa will be out at Crown King's facility protesting, but I'm excited to use this. So with that said, Douglas, what do you have to highlight this week?
This week has been a hell of a week for me. I don't know if many of you caught it, but we were in Forbes last Sunday, which was it was just floored Fran and I, and it was very flattering and very humbling, in fact. But we were in, so that happened. And then there was the release. Thank you. Then there was and I'd like to congratulate you, Max, before anything else. I'd like to welcome you on the show and congratulate you on your cologne. Just learning about that. So yeah, it's been a wild week. The Forbes thing happened, then the launch of CrownKingShaving.com, our new brush line / soap and cologne and a few other doodads. But it originally was just going to be a brush line. I just get a little carried away. But what I've been using, well, you know what brush I've been using because of this. But what I've been using soap-wise is I had to try this. Is the Meisner? Have you guys tried Meisner? I'm almost certain that's the way you pronounce this. Though that one character, that one German character, I don't really know.
I thought it was Nebner. I thought it was Meitner or something like that.
Say it, David?
It's called an S-set.
Yeah, double but I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch. Papers, please. No, Marty, can you tell me how to pronounce that?
I won't butcher it, but I think it's. I don't remember the pronunciation, but that symbol should be an S-set, which is a double S. It's an old German script.
Meisner. But Thomas, if you're listening, just
Meisner.
Twitter us and let us know how to pronounce that. But this particular one is Moroccan Rasoul, and man, oh man. First of all, this package, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like this dark, like purple jar. It looks more black, but it claims to be purple glass. And if you can see the soap, what it looks like,
wow.
they stamp it and then they dust it. I'm not sure what they're dusting it with. It almost looks like arrowroot, but I'm assuming it's something else, like cocaine, because it's so. I just want to. It's just It's magical. It's spicy. It's anise. It's pepper. It's magical stuff, and it may not be for everybody, but like these guys, much like Tabula Rasa, are doing some really interesting scents. So if you can get a chance to pick them up, by all means, try to. They have more scents than just that. And then chase that one.
Some great soaps, man.
They are. I'm sure they always have. We're just getting now hip to them.
Yeah.
So I've been using that, and I've been chasing it with good old-fashioned tobacco. This stuff, I mean, it's so funny how it's like just such a divide down in the world of scents where people either love this or hate it. I hear smells like the inside of your grandmother's handbag. What does that even smell like? First of all, I don't and like cough drops and like I mean like I hear that all the time, and I'd like to create that scent, but yeah. So I've been chasing it with tobacco, which I'm gonna spray on right now, because it just works with it, and so it's been a really like magical week in shaving world, trying out some of these new things. And I think that's it. What do you got, Con? What was the cues thing? Who just sent me a message?
Yeah. No, I'm sending Con messages.
Okay, I'm receiving them.
Yeah, all of us are getting
right, gentlemen, just allow me this indulgence because we have Max on with us. I'm going to firstly do shave soap, and then I want to talk a little bit about some fragrances, if I may.
Sure.
Firstly, what I'm looking at and using this week is the Serhair Classic Barber scent, which is quite a robust scent, very nice. This is a tallow-based soap. Really enjoying that. I've only used it twice, and also their bald head care. I'd know, as would Marty. This is a shave oil, so you only need 3 or 4 drops of this. And just pretend you have hair and shampoo it into your hair, and then you can just shave the dome. And I'm really enjoying that. There are 4 things that I want to share with you, if I may. 2 of them are EDTs, and 2 of them are EDPs, which I am thoroughly enjoying at the moment. We'll start off with the EDTs. This is a fragrance that I think should get a bit more love. It's very approachable and very affordable. That's I don't know if you can see that, Midnight in Paris. I think that's one that I would definitely suggest. If you haven't got your nose on that, you should really get into that. That's a beautiful juice right there.
Yep.
You get relatively great sillage and longevity on that one, and I really enjoy this offering from.
And I'm rocking that today, Con.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
I love
great.
that stuff.
Yeah. The other one that I'm really enjoying is Penhaligon's Juniper Sling. If you like boozy scents, this is one to really get into. My only problem with this is there should be a little bit more booze. It just kind of lacks in the. I like a bit more gin and a bit more juniper. You're not going to get.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but salute.
You're drinking it.
I just come back.
Sadly, the longevity on this one is a little lacking, which Penhaligon's is very is famous for, charging a little bit of money, but and giving wonderful scents, but beyond 2 or 3 hours, you're really pushing it with that.
Yeah.
So they're the EDTs. The other EDT that I'm enjoying, again, bear in mind that it's the cooler months here now. We're in winter, so it's the exact opposite to what you'd probably be wearing now. Bulgari Man in Black, that's an EDP. Very approachable, affordable. It's kind of got really dark, smoky, tobacco-y notes, and I'm really enjoying that at the moment. That's really, I don't know what it's worth.
What is it similar to, Con? What is it like? Talk us around that one, because I'm curious about that myself.
You want me to talk around it? Come on, this is a show for everybody. No, I'm already.
I mean, relatively speaking, what is it similar to? Is it its own unique beast?
No, it's not. It brings to me. It has, as I say, sort of tobacco notes in there, but not quite as cloying as tobacco can be. I'm a tobacco man. I love it. I know that you talked about the divide. But there's yeah. It has lots of other things going on in there. I think there's some tonka bean in there as well. Really, really nice.
So it's sweet, almost like a pipe tobacco?
It has a sweet note, but it's also quite a dark note. Definitely one that I would be wearing evening. I wouldn't be wearing this through the day, although you can, and you would get quite a bit of longevity out of that.
Is it musky?
And finally, yes, there is a bit of musk in it as well.
Okay,
Look, there's too many things going on here. Speaking of boozy, one of my other favourite ones, and this is it, and I'll finish it here. This is an offering from a house that actually makes cognac ordinarily.
Frappant.
It's Luministe.
Ah, yeah.
This stuff is beautiful, and the packaging that it comes in is just superb.
Oh wow.
I can't speak highly enough of this. You're going to get about 4 hours, but of course your mileage may vary. The interesting thing about these tops, well, they're made of beech, and that apparently it's from the actual estate where they make the cognac. So there you go. Luministe is one that's worth checking out.
Wow.
We should put these in the show notes. That's it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on them if I could, Max.
Yeah, so just real quick. So I think the first one you said was Midnight in Paris. I love that. Yeah. I think Van Cleef and Arpels is really good fragrances. There's an EDT and an EDP of that. They're very similar, but they're both really good. I don't really love Juniper Sling for the same reason that you said. To me, it just doesn't last on my skin that long. I think it's really nice. Reminds me a little bit of Luministe, to be honest with you. The Bulgari Black, that's great. I think that Bulgari for me hasn't done a lot of really good scents since they did a scent called Black, which comes in like a bottle that looks like a hockey puck. I know they just dropped some fragrances that are like $500 in Bloomingdale's, and they come in these really like ridiculously opulent bottles. It looks, I mean, it doesn't even look like a bottle. It looks like an antique. So, I mean, but I like that one that you're talking about. That's one of their newer ones. And you can actually, in the U.S. at least, find that one fairly cheap online right now. So that's a really good scent. And then as far as the Frappant, I really like Frappant. I think Le Humaniste is great. Again, I don't get great longevity. I think they do darker, boozier scents better. There's one called 1697, which is really good. There's, one called 1270. So I really like them. I think they have a really good price point, and I think, like you said, they do liquor. So it's sort of similar to fragrances in terms of aging them and getting the right balance in them. So
exactly,
I think they're all good. I think those are all four very solid.
Well, I had a quick question for you. I guess something that's kind of intrigued me with soaps is it's kind of funny because I got into colognes kind of the I guess backwards. I got into wet shaving. I was smelling all these aftershaves and soaps, and the scents are kind of what really intrigued me. And then from watching videos like yours, Max, and a few other guys out there on YouTube, I got really inspired to start checking out fragrances. So something I like to really focus on is pairing, and this is something I asked Douglas about a while back. Guys seem to be kind of confused on like when somebody says, "Oh, it's got cumin in it, it's got tonka bean, it's got some of these notes that guys aren't familiar with." And I asked Douglas, "Hey, how do you convey those notes to people that don't really know?" So we get this question a lot, kind of in the shaving community of, what should I pair with my soap? What should I pair with my aftershave? So I just kind of wanted your take on when you're shaving. Do you pair your aftershave and soaps and fragrances?
Well, I'll tell you this much, and I told Doug this a long time ago. For me, up until the point of trying Phoenix products, like there just wasn't an aftershave that I would wear and be like, yeah, this could take the place of my fragrance, because they really weren't doing a good enough job there for me to like. And I told Doug, the first time I heard of Doug was someone who really told me that there's this company out there that's kind of blending the line between niche scents and aftershaves. And I was like, definitely not. That's definitely not true. I was like, but I'll email
you
this
haven't
guy.
Met Douglas Smythe.
I'll email this guy, and I was like, let's see what's going on. And so I told him, like, he sent me some stuff, and I was like, wow, this is true. You're really doing this. I'm really surprised. So, look, ultimately, I always tell people, wear what you like. Wear what you like, do what you like. You're not going to get arrested no matter what you do, right? There's no combination that's going to get you. People might be like, well, why do you smell like this? What's wrong with you? That might happen, but you're never going to go to fragrance jail. So I don't know. I don't really look that much at what goes with what, because by the time I'm finished shaving, usually that smell is pretty much, I'm the only one that could smell that, you know?
Yeah.
Normally what I do, I'll be real honest with you, like I tend to shave at night, and at night, if I'm going to use one of Doug's aftershaves, I don't put a cologne, I don't put a fragrance on.
Yeah.
And then if I shave in the morning, I actually just will use like a balm almost, like just something lighter on my skin, and I will wear a fragrance. But I really don't look that much into pairing. What I like to do is I like to wear lighter scents, obviously when it's warmer out, and then when it gets colder out, I tend to gravitate towards darker stuff. And that's the same thing with shaving soaps and aftershave. So I don't really pair that much. I just don't know that it's necessary. But again, like, people are going to do what people want to do, and I just always say there's no right or wrong way to do anything.
Yeah. Well, kind of leading from that, if you guys out there are listening, you can always tweet us at WS Roundtable, and I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think out there. What are some of your favorite pairings as far as soap, aftershave, and if you also have a cologne with it, what 3 things would you pair together? Tweet us, let us know, and we'll kind of mention that quickly on the show as we go along talking about shaving and fragrances.
And where can they tweet us at, Rico?
They can tweet us at WS Roundtable.
Rico, could I ask Max a question real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'm Max. I'm a frag, like, not even a newbie. I have one frag. John Veritos Artisan. It's summer in Tucson.
Yeah, that's a great scent, by the way.
And I really like it. But what would you recommend for, say, like, kind of similar price point, maybe like 5 different, you know, aftershaves, but fragrances that, like, a newbie like myself should kind of say, these are like the staples that every man should kind of have, try, you know, works in kind of seasonal type stuff?
Oh, wow, that's a really good question. So, you know, I always sort of, whenever I give recommendations, I try to think about budget too, right? Because I know people that have no problem spending $500 on a fragrance, and I know people that don't want to spend more than $20 on a fragrance. So that's obviously, you know, I also, just so you guys know, I used to do a lot of wine stuff back when I drank, and so I helped to store inventory, and like, so I kind of like, it's kind of the same thing. When someone asks you to recommend a wine, you kind of gotta see what they want to spend, because you can get a bottle of wine for $10,000 or $20,000. That's you know, that's just the truth. As far as good all-around fragrances, like, you know, on the niche side of things, I really think sartorial is a good all-around fragrance.
Yeah.
I just think it works in different weather. I tend to, like, what I do is if I like a perfumer, I tend to look at different stuff that they've done, because you're going to kind of get consistency along the way. Obviously, budgets are different depending on what company you're working for. But so then, you know, sartorial I love on the niche side. Some people don't consider it niche. I mean, I do. Yeah, I think so. You can't really go wrong with a Creed scent, I think. They're unbelievably expensive, and I have my own issues with some of the way they talk about their history and their customer service. But I have a love-hate relationship with Creed, but I don't think you can go wrong with the Creed fragrance. Green Irish Tweed, you know, I'm sure a bunch of you smell Cool Water by Davidoff, you know, which was an imitation of Cool Water, of Green Irish Tweed by Creed. So I think almost any Creed scent you can never go wrong with, honestly. That's just I know they're expensive, but you can usually find them online discounted. Just don't buy them from eBay, because I know there's a lot of fake Creed on eBay.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in terms of a designer fragrance, there's a lot. Like like these days, you almost have to be like not that bright to buy a bad designer fragrance, because most of the designers are all doing what the other designers are doing. Like, they're all sort of making the same scents, and they're packaging them differently, and they're using smart marketing, which is why it's funny that you said John Varvatos, because John Varvatos, I always say, is one of the companies that's not doing that. Like, they kind of do their own thing, and I think they've been served better for it. But to me, my favorite designer houses are Chanel and Dior. And I think so because, you know, a lot of these designer fragrance houses outsource their business. They sell their name to a huge company, and the huge company makes fragrances for them and uses the name. Well, Chanel and Dior kept their fragrances in-house, and they hired really good perfumers to work for them, and I think because of that, they've really done a good job separating themselves from other designer fragrances. And there's a Chanel fragrance called Bleu de Chanel, which
that one's pretty nice.
I've never had. And actually, there's a Soap Commander fragrance. It's a soap that smells exactly like Bleu de Chanel. And I don't think you can go wrong with Bleu de Chanel. If I were going to tell you one fragrance I think every guy should own, I'm going to say Dior Homme by Christian Dior. It's iris, sandalwood, cocoa, and leather. And it's really
I heard sandalwood.
What's that? Yeah.
David's a big sandalwood guy.
It's really like...
I want it. I'm in.
It has this niche quality to it. The notes are amazing. It smells really expensive. It's fairly unique. The iris in it really differentiates it from a lot of other men's fragrances, and it can be had for like $50 or $60 online. So I would recommend that. And then on the niche side of things, I would recommend Green Iris to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, great question, man. That's awesome. Change up some gears here. Let's head over to Twitter and see what's going on over there. Con, what do we got?
Okay, remember you can send us a tweet at WS Roundtable. That's at WS Roundtable. We have a tweet here from Chris Stegman saying Midnight in Paris has been discontinued, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you still buy it? Van Cleef and Appel say that it's done producing it.
Yeah, you can order it like on. I just ordered some like on Amazon. I got the EDP and the EDT.
Exactly.
You can get it like at Lucky Scent, right, Max?
No, I don't know if Lucky Scent is still has. I know they have the higher end Van Cleef and Apparel collection. I don't know if they still have Midnight in Paris. If they do, you should be able to get it there. If it's really discontinued, which is what I have heard as well, then I would get it now because what's going to happen is those bottles are going to get bought up, and you're going to see them in 2 years on eBay for triple the price.
Yeah, and right now I think you're looking at it's really cheap, like $27, $33, something like that. And get both. I mean, they're like, I like wearing the EDT during the day, and I like wearing the EDP kind of at night because it's just a little more punchy. I
have a question. Is Midnight in Paris? What is that like?
Oh man, what are the notes on that? It's like leather.
Yeah. Vanilla. There's vanilla in it. There's tonka. There's suede.
Would you guys like that as a shaving soap?
Yes, we would.
That would be cool. If you could do an aftershave too, that would be sweet.
Apparently I have to now, so I have to look into it. Max, you and I should talk more after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, Midnight in Paris is, from what I understand, in the Frag community, is kind of a big deal. It's kind of like the cheapy luxury scent, I guess. I don't know.
Great movie.
There's like 5 cheapy scents that like every person in fragrance community has because they just feel like, I have to. You can get this one for $20. You got to get this one.
You know, Max, that's actually. I'm glad you brought that up. What are a couple of your like cheapy pharmacy store scents? You gotta go there. You gotta have one on your shelf. Because you're not as potential. You're not as a lot of the fraggots, as I like to call them out there. You are the. Yeah, I went there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm talking to Max though. Have you heard his podcast? Regardless, like a lot of these guys are very pretentious that I've watched, but you, Max, you keep it real. You keep it really real. I mean, you're like a frat guy that likes food scents too, which is completely unique. In my, from what I understand of the frag heads out there. Right. So I commend you on that. But I'm curious, what are your cheapy scents?
So just so you know, in terms, I told you I have 500 fragrances. I would say 200 of them are under $50. So I do, like if it smells good, I don't care who makes it. I bought a scent by Lady Gaga just to see if it was any good. Now, I wound up trying
to give it to you did it for the video.
No, I wound up trying to give it to my girlfriend, and she was like, "Get that away from me." So you win, you lose sometimes, But I'll give you a couple.
Well, she's a jazz musician. She went to school for jazz.
Right, exactly. So a couple of cheapies that are really good. There's one. There's a company called Jacques Bogart. And they make a really classic barbershop scent with lavender in it and tonka bean. It's called Bogart Pour Homme. It's like $20. So that's
I know that one. It's sweet. It's like a vanilla thing going on too.
Yes, there's one. This company called Jovan, which used to do like Sex Appeal and White Musk and like someone
Musk.
Yeah, someone went over there and like fired half the office because they're starting to actually put out good scents now. And they have one. They have one called Oud Intense, and I always tell people if you're interested,
that's a great name.
If you're interested in the idea of oud, but you don't want to spend oud money for oud, get Oud Intense because it's like $12 and it's pretty good. Good. You have a question?
No, I was just gonna say you just did a video kind of on some cheapy.
I always. Oh, you're talking about the 10 fragrances you probably haven't smelled, right?
Yes, I love that video. I just watched that.
I'll do one more just real quick. I'm sure you guys all know L'Occitane from their shaving stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have a scent called Eau de Bao, which a lot of people compare to Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille, for you guys who might not know, is a $250 scent by Tom Ford. And I think it's good. I just don't like people go crazy over that fragrance. Like, I don't understand why people go so nuts over it, but they make a fragrance called Eau de Bao, which is like, you know what, actually, I'm going to even go one better than Eau de Bao. There's a company out of the West Coast called West Third Brand. And what this guy does, his name's Michael, I'm friendly with him. What he does is he looks at really good niche scents, and he makes $30 versions of them. He does some original stuff as well. And he has a scent called Tobacco 1812, which to me, I don't think 99 out of 100 people couldn't tell the difference between Tobacco 1812 and Tobacco Vanille. And Tobacco 1812 is $32, and Tobacco Vanille is $210. So I would really take a look at Tobacco 1812 too.
Do you get any cheaper though, Max? I mean, you to me are the working man's like Frag head, like you know.
Do I get?
You're cheaper? The John Lennon of perfume.
Oh, do I get cheap? You're saying, can I go cheaper fragrances?
I want you to go cheaper. I want you.
Yeah,
how do you feel? Old Spice, Aquavelva, Pedestrian. Yeah, what do you got?
So I like Panau, I like Clubman, I like Brew. I like both of those, and I like Old Spice. There's a fragrance brand called Al Rehab from the Middle East. And they make $6 fragrances.
How do you spell that for our listening audience?
A-L-R-E-H-A-B, Al Rehab. And they have about 100
Al Rehab.
Yeah, they do a fragrance. Yeah, it's funny.
Alcohol Rehab. That's your mnemonic device, Al Rehab.
Right. So they do a fragrance called Silver, which you can get for $3. There are some people that can't tell the difference between that and a fragrance called Silver Mountain Water by Creed. Silver Mountain Water for a 4-ounce bottle from Creed is $340.
Wow.
Al Rehab Silver is $3. So Al Rehab makes a lot of really good scents. They have a scent, not very original name. It's called Outy, O-U-T-Y. And it's a good oud scent, and it's like $5. So, look, I'll be honest with you guys. Taking away like Brew and Clubman and Old Spice, I don't really wear much of that others. I don't really wear those that much just because for 500 bottles, I just don't have like an occasion to really. I just doesn't feel right doing that. But I have them. But with that said, I think those are all really good fragrances, and I think that foundation of fragrances has really laid the way for a lot of what you've seen come down the pipeline for the last 50 years. So they really are the architects of what's out now. So I would never look down upon them. I would never say, "What, you wear that?" Like that's crazy, because half the people, what they're wearing has been influenced by those fragrances. So
yeah,
exactly.
I think they're awesome. And I just now, with that said, I don't know that there's 100 under $20 fragrances that I go, yeah, go out and get this. But there's a lot. There's actually a lot. I've done videos on it, and I'll do more videos on it.
Nice. What about the high-end niche fragrance by Cuba Paris?
Cuba Paris! I'll tell you what.
I love Cuba Paris, actually.
Yeah, Cuba Paris. Look, they do a scent, right? That's supposed to smell like Jean-Paul Gaultier's Lamel, whatever. They smell exactly alike. I mean, it's just. So I think they do a really good job too. They actually do another one that's supposed to smell exactly like Angel Men by Terry Mugler. It's unbelievably close.
It's very close. Yes, I love that one.
They're $5 or $6 fragrances. So like, wow, like I think those are great deals. You don't have to spend $1,000 or even $500 to have a nice 5 fragrance rotation. You could do it really cheap.
Yeah. So let's jump back over to Twitter. Con. What's going on here?
Yep. Okay. We've got quite a few tweets that are coming through. Most of them are asking about your shave setup.
Oh yeah.
We've got a couple of gentlemen that want to know about your shave setup, Max. Yeah. Okay. What your shave setup is.
Definitely. So so for a razor, I usually use the Mercure Futur. I got one of those razors where you can like the single edge. I think they're called Chavettes by Dovo.
Yeah.
I used that one night, and I came home, and my girlfriend was like, "Who'd you get into a fight with?" Because I had cuts all over my face. So I'm really interested in Gold Dollar. I want to kind of try that at some point. But for the time being, I like the Mercure Futur, and I'm pretty simple when it comes to that. I have a few other Parker Mercure double-edged safety razors. As far as brushes go, you know, I was real lucky a couple of years ago. Someone as a gift gave me a custom shave mat with my initials monogrammed into it. It's a silver tip badger hair. I think it was like $300 or something like that. So
Wow.
I use that a lot. And then I'm actually, you know what? I use an Omega boar's hair brush. It was like $6.
Yeah.
I love that for like soaps that are puffed because I feel like the stiff bristles.
The backbone. Yeah, the
Yeah,
backbone.
exactly. And then I'm actually really interested. I want to try to get a synthetic brush just because I feel like like a lot of people.
It's coming your way, baby. It's coming your way.
They have this. There's one that's like there's a black version of it and a white version of it that I'm hearing a lot about.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
It's like $20.
Satin tip.
Yes,
Yeah.
the satin tip.
I got one coming your way, man. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. All right, so I'm not really. I'm one of these guys that sort of finds something that they like and I kind of stick with it. I don't really do. I experiment a lot with the soaps and the aftershaves, and I think I've tried every shave oil, and I think I know enough now not to try any more shave oil.
Yeah.
But as far as those two things go, I'm pretty set in like the Futur and that custom shave mat brush.
So Max, you mentioned you're looking at straights.
Yeah.
Gold Dollar, and I know you did a review on the Stallion.
Yeah.
The Stallion would be the guy to hook you up with. He owns those things actually. And he's really close to you. He's real close to your area, and it's like super cheap.
You know what? I like him because I went to this school in Long Island called Hofstra, and he reminds me of every Italian dude I went there with. But I'll tell you what,
here.
all of them are in jail now, so I kind of like they're not around anymore for me to hang out with. They all went to jail. So I really like his. I think he just has a great attitude. I like his videos a lot. So yeah.
Well, that's funny, Max. I'm from the same area as him, and so like the accent takes me back. And I went to a technical high school where every guy wore a tool belt except for me because I was in the graphic arts department. Right. But regardless, so Anthony's like so much like the guys I grew up with. It's like it's unbelievable. Yeah. I've worked on my accent, however. I hope it's not coming out.
No, you and him sound totally different.
Yeah. Today I'm using my
Boca.
I'm using my Boca and my Theta.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know, I go home though. I visit. I hang out with my family. Have 2 beers, and immediately the accent comes right back.
Right. People do that. I know people who have English accents who aren't even English, but as soon as they drink a beer, they start talking English. I don't understand it.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, they go visit for like a year or 6 months. And they come back. Isn't that weird? Or like your dad. You go visit your dad in Ohio, and you come back saying pop instead of soda. What's up with that?
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
So
sorry, go on.
No, you're good.
We have questions coming in. Rudd's already asked the question. Who else we got out there?
We got this is actually interesting, and I was at Con and I had this conversation the other day, and you might have to correct me on pronunciation, Con. I said Cyprus, but that's not right. Chypre?
Yeah, Chypre.
Yeah, that's the right. That's the right.
Chypre. It's French for Cyprus.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I guess the question basically is Fougere, Chypre, and Orientals. What's the difference?
Okay, so Fougere Fougere comes from the French word for fern, and they're fragrances that are supposed to have fern in the base, and like a classic Fougere would be Clubman or Sartorial, or like a lot of Penhaligon's fragrances. Chypre. It's similar, but that one usually has like a base of labdanum, which is like a resin, and a citrus opening, so citrus and labdanum. And then Oriental are going to have resins, and they're heavily characterized by different spices as well. So that's basically it. You know, I think people get very caught up in that classification. You know, there's woody Oriental, there's woody Fougères. There's spicy food. I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't really pay much attention to that.
It's so morphed, and people confused it so much. I just recently read an article on the Sharpologist with the guys going, "There's no oak moss in it, so it's not a fougere."
Right.
First of all, fougere is French for fern, as you said.
Yep.
A fern does not have a scent.
Right.
So
exactly.
The irony of it, it's a green smell. It's a woodsy smell. You need not use oak moss to make a fougere.
Right.
So I just want to clear that up. It's a woodsy, it's a green smell, first of all.
Definitely.
Where you go from that base is totally your own thing, but it all starts off as a fougere base, you know. So it's it's morphed into so many different things at this point.
Exactly. Like that's really a French lexicon from 100 years ago, really.
Which is kind of a joke. It's like smells like Teen Spirit. You know, I mean, if Houbigot, the House of Houbigot was Nirvana, this would be their Smells Like Teen Spirit, because they named it about something that's not real. It's not even what the song's about, you know.
And they even
it's hysterical to me.
They even have a section which I haven't seen much of, like fantasy scents, I guess.
Oh yeah.
They're like totally made up, not natural.
Fantasia.
Yeah.
Which is most of them. I mean, like, if you go back, which is funny, I think, you know, growing up, you know, you collect those scratch and sniff stickers. So you get this idea in your head that strawberries smell like this and bananas smell like that. But most of the time it's a synthetic version of them. They don't really smell like that at all. They've standardized it for us, but it's not real.
I've collected a scratch and sniff.
That's because you're hardcore.
We got a quick question here for the panel, and then we're going to jump to Twitter. It says, for the panel, what scent type would you say is your favorite? I'm a fan of the range of, this is by Bad in Plaid, is the guy that asked the question.
That's ska.
Bad and Plaid, thank you for asking. He said he likes woody to ambery fougères and woody to leather, I guess, chypres. So, David, because I know your answer. What would you say is your scent?
My scent person? Actually, I have two. I know a lot of people know me for the sandalwood scent because, again, I just love a bunch of variations of sandalwood as the predominant scent. But I'm also a huge fan of barbershop scents. Like I have about probably 10 sandalwood soaps, but I also have about 6, 7, maybe even 8 barbershop scents. That even though they're a bit different, I do like the similarity in all of them.
Yeah. Max? This might be kind of hard to pin down, but...
Yeah, so my favorite style of fragrance?
Yeah, I guess like woody, oriental.
You know, I guess if I had to say one, and I don't really have a favorite, but I mean, I would say I do tend to lean to like oriental stuff that's like resiny and darker, spicier, woodier. Like, you know, I like fragrances that really just challenge the way I think about fragrances, and those usually tend to be darker oriental fragrances.
Yeah. I kind of like it's kind of funny because I'm kind of transitioning more away from citrus to kind of gourmand. I just picked up an old school one, and I'm not going to pronounce this right. Rochus.
Yeah, that's a great fragrance.
Which to me is almost like the Cuba Paris Prestige, which I guess is a knockoff of the Terra Muglier's Angelman. Which is nice. I love those kind of scents. I love that patchouli.
Me too. I mean, the next fragrance I want to work on another house with, is going to be a gourmand. So, yeah,
nice.
I like them a lot. I love them.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's awesome. Marty.
Yeah, I'd like to be involved in that.
For me, I was always tobacco for the longest time, and I still really have a heart for tobacco-based scents. But lately, what's really taken over for me is the earthy vetiver, that type of scent. Yeah. That's really kind of hit home with me a lot lately.
Yeah. Vetiver can be, as Khan likes to say, really dirty.
Absolutely.
Say it, Khan. Say it. We need to hear it.
Dirty. It's dirty vetiver.
Douglas, do you have a signature scent?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, like, growing up, see, I'm a child of the 90s for the most part. Like, that's when I was in college. That's when I was going through my thing. And, like, I always went for bay rums and sandalwood. It was one or the other. So I like that spicy, you know, earthy stuff. But I also, you know, I like colognes or aftershaves they need to change my mood. They need to be like, they need to do something to my brain. It needs to be like psychoactive to a certain extent. Yeah. And that's a good scent for me. If it can really change my mood, and and a lot of times you can play with your head in this regard too. And I may have mentioned this before, if not on this show, on other shows. But if there's a scent that you're not sure of or don't like, hold on to it. Don't give it away just yet. And if you're a buddy's wedding coming up, or a bachelor party, or something really big, special, and memorable, wear it on that. And then every time after you use that, it'll remind you of this special moment and whatnot, and it'll totally change its shape in your head. Yep. So like, I really like something almost psychoactive that can really change my mood and make me happy. No matter what's going on in my life, a few spritz of that is like, that's what I look for in a scent, be it cologne, aftershave, so on and so forth, be it even a shave soap.
That's what 1K did for me.
Some of you out there, know exactly what I'm talking about, and you get it. And others that don't, you will get it. But just like try experimenting with it like that. Like if you have something really big, use that cologne that day. And like I'm telling you, from that time ever after, it's just, there's so much more added to it. Synapses in the brain. You've connected all these different other associations with it, so it makes it that much more important, that much stronger to you. It's just, smell is such a unique sense in the body that you can really play with it. So like you can be like a shaman almost when it comes to scent. Not to get really whimsical on you, but like there's just, scent is amazing. So like make the most of it.
I watched a guy, a reviewer online, a perfume reviewer, and he said he wore a specific cologne when his kid was born.
Oh, yeah.
So now every time he wears that cologne, it reminds him of when his baby was born. So that's
Ryan Stephen Green. Yeah, Ryan Stephen Green, like Sangre de Drago, he loves it, and like that's it. He calls it his daddy scent. So now, and he just had a baby. Yeah. Now every time he holds his child, he wears that because he wants her to associate that with him. Like that's just an interesting thing to like consider, and that's what he's doing. There's something very, there's something deep and artsy about that too, and it just goes beyond like the whole like just something as simple as aftershave. You know what I mean? Like it's an experience now.
Yeah, I think maybe because this is a really interesting topic. I think maybe down the road, Max we'll need to get you back on so we can kind of delve into this some more, because this is a very interesting topic.
Absolutely.
We've just called Max into the wet shaving world. We're going to have him on all the shows.
Yeah.
So, Con, Max is one of us.
Con, do you have a signature scent, sir?
I have to say, and I have to confess that over the last, 20 years or so, it's changed. Things that I wouldn't thought I would like or enjoy, I'm now starting to embrace. But if I had to pick sort of notes that I like woody notes, I like oriental notes, amber, resins, they're the sorts of things, leather and tobacco. It's interesting stuff that, and I think, what, am I just a crusty old fart here? Why am I liking these scents? And I know that I wouldn't have liked them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think the idea that Douglas said, that don't throw things out because you may come to love them, holds true. The comment that was made earlier about celebrity scents, those celebrity scents that are made, whether they're made for Britney Spears or for whoever, those things for me are just top note. You spray them at the counter, you go, wow, and it's usually a citrus burst that dies out within 10 minutes, and that's it. And they're usually only made by 2 or 3 companies in the world. Yeah. And people think, oh, have you tried this? It's the same company that's making this stuff.
Yeah.
So I move away from these notes that if this will sound odd. If I'm overly impressed immediately, chances are I won't like that fragrance either in an hour or two later, or I probably won't like it at all. Like I'll grow to sort of not use it at all. It won't become part of my rotation. So I like to spray something and walk away. Just spray it and just go for a walk. Go for an hour long. If you're in a shopping mall somewhere, spray the stuff and leave the counter. Don't stay there. That is the worst possible thing you can do, because those things work on top note marketing.
Yep.
You spray it, you think, oh yeah, this is great. No. If you're 20 or if you're 18, perhaps, and that's the market they want to capture. Yep. But if you want something that's a bit more sophisticated and layered and has a lot of complexity to it, then I think that's probably the way to go. One other thing, Lomani. That's one that hasn't been mentioned. That thing needs a bit of love as well, that intense black. It's as cheap as chips, but it's nice.
Nice. We got a question over on Twitter.
We do. Now, somebody wants to know what does Max think of colognes like English Leather or Azzaro Pure Homme? I know some people.
I already asked that question.
I mean, I like them. I just I just think I've gotten to a place where they serve a good purpose. Sometimes I think I certainly have things that I feel like are a little more interesting than them. So I have English Leather, so I had that one. But I'm not, they're just not something I'd say I gravitate towards a lot right now. And just something real quick on celebrity scents, I 100% agree with you. The only celebrity scent that is actually a recent one that I said, okay, this one is okay, is Pharrell Williams did a scent called Girl with Comme des Garçons. Comme des Garçons is they're avant-garde. They made a fragrance that was meant to smell like a garage. They do very different things.
Who does that?
What? Comme des Garçons. And one they're supposed to smell like tar. So they're a little out there. I don't think Pharrell's scent is like the end-all be-all, but I give him some credit for not going to one of those two big places that do everything and sort of going in a different direction with his fragrance. I don't think it's a great fragrance. I just think it's a little bit better than all those other ones.
Okay, so as a guy, you have this fragrance intelligence, Max, that a lot of people don't. And so I'm thinking, you have a palette to choose from. And do you use it during the course of the day? If you're going to buy a car, you use the cheap stuff, right? Like Old Spice or something, right? You don't slap on.
So
you can use it as a tool, right?
You can.
An advantage.
The way I use it is so on the side what I do is I'm a marketing director.
There we go.
Right. So, I mean, definitely, if I have a meeting, there's fragrances I'll wear if I have a meeting. If I think I have to intimidate someone in my company, there's intimidation fragrances.
Right. Oh, right. Do tell.
Well, and if I'm if I'm on a date, there's a fragrance I'll go to for that. So there are definitely different times in my life that I go to different fragrances. Absolutely. Also, I actually a little bit match fragrances. Before I get into fragrances, I was really into sneaker culture and clothing and stuff like that. So I've kept that.
You are so hip hop, Max, is what it all comes down to.
I was.
You busted. I'm East Coast. I got you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I came up in New York City in the mid 1990s. It's hard to not have done that and not really gotten into hip hop. I don't really like new hip hop. I definitely like a lot of the older stuff.
Old school. We all know that. Anyone who's watched your videos knows that.
Oh yeah. I get a lot of flack for that.
Yeah.
No, I enjoy it. It sets you apart. You're a purple cow out there in the real world.
I think so.
This is what I mean. You are the people's perfumer. It definitely sets you apart, and I respect that. Mad props.
I appreciate that. But to answer your question, I definitely use fragrances in different ways. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see you doing that.
Definitely.
Let's do. Is everybody good for maybe another 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's about my cutoff.
What'd you say, Marty?
I said I'm good. I'll have to leave in about 20, so I'm good.
Okay. Let's go for another 20 minutes. I wanted to kind of.
Well, let's go. Rico, I'm sorry. Let's do another 30 minutes. Whoever can stay can stay. Whoever has to go can go.
Okay.
But I'm getting personal messages on Facebook saying 5:30. Well, Arizona time, but whatever it is over there.
Yeah.
I guess 8:30. So
let's kind of change up gears just real quick. Max and I were talking about this before the show. We were talking about 3Ts versus artisans. And tell me what it was you were saying. You were saying that you think they're in trouble.
Well, I'll tell you something. Whenever I look at, I didn't want to make a fragrance until I felt like I understood the market pretty well. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make myself look like an ass. So I try to really study trends and stuff like that. And I was just saying that when I used to go to Pasteur 5 years ago, that was all I saw was the 3Ts.
Real quick, just for everybody so they know, the 3Ts, they are True Fit and Hill, GOF Trumper, and Taylor of Old Bond Street.
And you can really put DR Harris in that, even though they're not a T. And so now that space is really changed.
They're all on the same street.
Yeah. What's that?
They're all on the same
street. Yeah.
Exactly. So
was it
German Street, I think they're all. But so basically now you have options that are cheaper and the quality is as good, if not better. And I don't see a way. I know TrueFit and Hill tried to do a line called Number 10 where they made cheaper stuff. I like TrueFit and Hill. They got mad at me one time when I didn't give a shaving cream of theirs a perfect rating, and they won't respond to anything of mine anymore, which is crazy because I gave them a really good rating, but they caught feelings about it, and that happens. It's part of what I do. Yeah. But and I'm not saying this because I have a problem with TrueFit and Hill, but I think that line that they put out was really not good, and I just don't see how. Maybe Taylor I can see surviving because they sort of are at a good price point, I feel, but the other two, I don't know if they're going to be able to do what. See, all the people that use all the guys you see in TrueFit and Trumper, they're old. Their client base is these people, older people that wanted to wet shave, and that was their only options. And I think now the options are way more varied. The prices are much better. The product is better, and they're going to have to like turn the ocean liner around if they want to stay relevant. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's what I think.
No, that's
exactly right. You're exactly right, and I give them actually mad props. Them even Monde Country as well. Is like these guys have been around forever, and they held the door open for all of us that's followed them.
Yep.
So like, bravo to them for doing that. And it's kind of like, thanks guys. I'll take it from here.
Right. That's a perfect way to put it.
But they did do it, and like I mean, I'm sure they weren't killing it for the last like 20 years, and they were doing it. So God bless them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Yeah,
we were talking about this before the show. You know, these guys like TrueFit, what they've done. I mean, their soaps are awesome. I have no problem with the actual products. But one aspect that's kind of missing that we've now got with these artisans is we've just got this kind of personable customer service. Like I definitely can contact Douglas all the time, but almost anybody can contact Douglas anytime. You can contact stuff like Chris Cullen, Amanda Stott, any of these artisans out there, Larry from Ginger's Garden,
so on and so forth.
Yeah, you can contact all these artisans, and if you got a problem, they'll just fix it, which I just totally love about that. But since we're mentioning the artisans, David, because I know you've talked about this, as far as sandalwoods, the big one in the community everybody goes on about is Tobbs. And I'm not a Tobbs guy, and I always get flack for that. I like TrueFit and Hill's sandalwood.
Well, me personally, I like stuff that are a little bit more natural, a little bit more smooth. Tobbs is way too cologne-y, too alcohol type.
Perfumey.
Yeah, it's just really not my thing. I like a little bit more natural, smooth, and woodsy.
David's the hippie.
Douglas is. I'm a hippie.
He is. He doesn't know it, but he's a hippie.
It's just my preference. You know, all of my favorite sandalwoods, like just the plain sandalwood from Douglas or Shaver Heaven. Also, the Sangre de Drago has the oud, but it also has a nice smooth sandalwood to it. The scent that me and Douglas came out together with, Santalon Fumes.
That was all you. That was all you. David was brilliant with that one.
That's awesome.
But just in general, it's just much smoother. It's not so aggressive, and even though it's strong and it'll last all day with that scent, it just has the way to just vibe real clean with anything, as opposed to just being the standout, punch you in the mouth type scent that I generally don't like. I like a strong fragrance, but I don't like an offensive scent. You know.
Out of the three T's, which one would you pick, real quick?
Man, probably TrueFit and Hill. TrueFit and the Hill is the least. Well, actually, TrueFit and Hill is not offensive at all. It's the least strong cologne type to it.
Yeah, Marty, real quick. Out of the three T's, which one would you pick if you had to pick one?
I've only ever had Tobbs, so that's all I can speak about. So,
Tobbs.
Yeah.
You bastard, you.
Yeah.
And that was early in my career. I haven't tried it since.
Douglas, do you have a preference?
I don't know. Taylor Bond Street's nice. I mean, like, all these guys, I mean, they fell into, like, they went through the 80s and whatnot. They fell into the whole outsourcing thing. And, like, they're not even the artisans anymore. They're just, like, it's all about bottom line. So someone may be using the original recipe, but I'm sure, like, they're not using the essential oils they used to. They're using fragrance oils now. And if we're talking sandalwood, they're too perfumey for me. So it's not the same. I mean, like, granted, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of pucks in the health food stores, too. And these are health food stores where you would expect artisan craftsmanship. You're not getting that. You're getting, like, Urban Cowboy. You're getting Badger.
I just saw that the other day.
Yeah, they're not. They're cold processed soaps. They're not for the wet shaver. They're for a guy that wants to use a brush on a puck of soap and save the world from throwing aerosol cans into the landfill. I respect that, but it's not wet shaving. There's nothing rich about what they're pitching to us. And as for these bigger companies, these bigger British companies, Tubbs is like it would be the one I'd go to. But at the same time, I mean, with all the artisan soap makers out there, and there are a lot, people, especially in the United States, there's no need. I mean, we got it all right here. There's no there's no need to pay for shipping and handling to a certain extent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think if I'm going to stick with sandalwood, I would have to say True Fit and Hill. I just love that one. I don't know why everybody loves Tubbs. A lot of guys love Tubbs.
I have to say, we are excluding someone here, and that's Edwin Jagger. Edwin Jagger is really, like, I have a lot of respect for Edwin Jagger, I mean, just from the silver smithing background they come from, and the fact they wanted to, like, introduce some soaps. A lot of their soaps are crap. I have to tell you, a lot of their soaps are crap. But they're one, and I don't know what it is, but the sandalwood they do is actually quite quality. It's the only one I will carry in my store. But for some reason, that lather is different. I don't know if it's the essential oils they're using or what. Something's going on with that soap in particular. But as it comes to sandalwoods, or as it goes for sandalwoods, the Edwin Jagger one is not that bad if you're going to stick to traditional British soap.
Yeah. Max, have you tried all the 3 Ts?
Yeah, I actually own products from all 3 of them.
Which one, if you had to pick one of them, and I'm not talking sandalwood, it could be any of the brand, which one would you pick? Which one do you like the most, I guess?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Trumper makes 2 scents two actually colognes that I like. I actually like their sandalwood cologne, and they do one Eucharist, which I actually don't mind as well. So I really don't like any of them for shaving products. I actually do like Tubbs grapefruit. I think they did a good job.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
With that, so I guess if I had to pick one, for shaving I'd say Tubbs, and if you're talking strictly fragrances, I'd go Trumper. But I really don't have any love for any of the 3 of them.
Yeah, I love. I don't even know what it is. I need to look this one up. The GFT by GOF Trumper, the scent. It's like lemon. It's really bright. Real great stuff.
Yeah.
Con, do you have a preference out of the traditional 3 Ts? Which one would be like your go-to?
If I had to pick one, it would be Truefit and Hill.
Yeah.
There is a caveat, though. Up until recently, the 3 Ts were stable buddies. They were all coming out of the same stable. People don't realise this. But some lines were made in the identical factory. They outsourced their products, and some of them, one of them in particular, is not doing very well, I have to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we'll have them around for much longer. But they're all stablemates. They came out of the same stable. Yeah. Tubbs is doing their own thing, of course. But there were products that were produced where all 3 products were produced in the same factory.
Oh wow.
So I would have to. But having said that, I'd say Truefit and Hill out of the Ts.
And what's very interesting about that, because we see, I think in the community more than any other, is probably Tubbs in the wet shaving community. So I think that's kind of interesting, that True Fit and Hill. And Con, do we have something going on in the Twitterverse? I know I said one more question a while ago, but since we decided.
You know what, Rigo, could I say something really quick?
Go for it.
Since this is the fragrance of the Frag episode, I want to say that, like, for anyone interested in learning more about fragrances and maybe don't have the time to do that, every now and then when you're out and about, and if you drive by a health food store or Whole Foods, stop.
Yeah.
And it's not just to use the bathroom. Go in there and just splurge and buy one essential oil.
Yeah.
Be it like sandalwood or bay or whatever, or lavender or jasmine. Buy one. you can buy the cheapest. Some of the sandalwoods there are expensive, like $70.
Yeah.
You can find a cheaper one. In fact, go to a New Age store. You can probably find them diluted in base oils, but like, do yourself a favor, just buy one and hang with that. Rub it into your mustache. Like, take just a little bit of notes.
Mustache.
Maybe even. Oh, whatever. Wikipedia that scent. It'll take you 1 or 2 minutes to learn just a little more about that scent, but it'll stand out for you after the fact. And so when you start reading about colognes and fragrances and scent profiles, you'll understand just a little bit more. But once a month, buy a new essential oil and just keep it with you. And you know, and also if you're doing that, if you're collecting essential oils, start buying scentless pucks or shaving soaps. And then before you use it, add like 3 or 4 drops of that essential oil that you're really enjoying, and then shave with it. And you just scented it. You created your own scent to a certain extent. But it really it's an education that shouldn't be that much work. But just to associate yourself with it, just familiarize yourself with a little bit more different scent notes. And then you'll understand it better when you're reading different scent profiles in the future. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't take much work, but I encourage everyone to just learn different notes. Because it's like a song. It's like a play. It's like a musical. It's like a movement in a composition. So, like, the more you know, the better off you'll be, and the more educated choices or decisions you'll make when purchasing a cologne or a perfume or a shaving soap in the future, without having to rely on a sample. You'll already have a little bit more than that. You'll understand the language. You're learning a new language, essentially, is what it all comes down to.
So you're trying to say I didn't have to buy all that soap to get my nose to start smelling stuff? Now you tell me.
You could. You did. You live a half an hour away from me. There's no excuse for you not knowing.
Yeah, I do have to say, because this was quite a while back. I don't know how long ago this was. I could look up your video again, Douglas. Douglas, you did a whole video on this, and I have to give Douglas big thanks and props to him for this because.
Oh, people tore it apart.
No, it was awesome because I legitimately was thinking about, all these guys don't know what tonka bean is. They don't know what vetiver is. They're, how would I get familiar with that? And that was exactly what you said. And another tip you mentioned that I just thought was awesome was you said get like a note card or Q-tip or something and dip it in that oil and put it in your pocket, put it in your your AC unit of your car.
It'll change. Yeah.
And just kind of immerse yourself in that scent. And I do that now. Haven't done it in a while, but I've done it a lot with just like aftershaves, like Alphine. I did that with Alphine. I put it on a card. I put it on my wrist. I wore it all day just trying to smell it to see what am I smelling? What am I getting?
See how it ages. See how it matures. Like, in fact, a Q-tip, both sides in whatever cologne or essential oil you're into, fold it, stick it in your car, in the vent, and you'll be living it during the course of the day as it ages and changes and whatnot. It'll really open it up to you. I took a lot of flack for that video because I actually made the mistake of saying an absolute comes from essential oils, which was I was really going through that so fast that I was reading my cards, notes. I don't know how it was just like a nervous thing that I went over that, but absolutes are not from essential oils. Yeah. I just want to clarify that right now. But there were some other soap makers out there that really tore that apart. And I knew I said I was going to chase that or follow that with some other tutorials on essential oils after the fact, but I was so down for a week after people my peers saying what he said about and it's it's some of the bigger names out there, and it's just really the guys come to me. I would change that or whatnot. But it was just something I was speeding over. But they were looking for any little thing to bitch about, and it's guys, come on. I clearly know what I'm talking about.
There's too many people like that in the world, man. They want to break somebody down or make them look bad.
Yeah, but sometimes that move is really effective. It did shut me down for a little while. I still haven't done a part 2 to that video because it's I'm trying to do this, but it's so easy for people to respond negatively than positively, and that goes for reviews too. Yeah. Whenever you're online looking at a product and you're looking at reviews, see which one outnumbers the other one. It's usually the negative ones that motivates people to write a review. And so with that said, also people go write a positive review about something. Let that move you, because we're artisans, we're small artisans. We're doing the fact that we're spending time doing this, talking about what we do and what we love, and we're passionate about it. Help us out here, we live on our reviews.
You have now had an article done on you by Forbes, so you're no longer a small artist.
I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about me. In fact, You know, after all the crap I've gone through as an artisan, a lot of the other guys that would have gone or could have gone through what I've gone through wouldn't have survived. So, I mean, like, take care of your small artisans and what. I'm still a small artisan. There's only 2 of us. We have an employee. I mean, there's only 2 of us. We're a small artisan. But there's other really small artisans out there that started off the same way I started off in my kitchen. Doing it right now. So like, take care of those people, because like when you don't, they disappear. I mean, when you make it really difficult, like, I mean, they disappear. What they're doing isn't cheap, and they're bringing out some really new stuff that maybe I haven't tried. They haven't tried. I mean, it's just like coming from somewhere else. Like, support them. Support your artisans, people. Yeah. Buy directly from them if you can. I know everyone wants like free shipping or everything. You know, I mean, like everyone's worried about shipping and whatnot. But like, if you can buy directly from an artisan, buy it from the artisan, because when they wholesale it to another business or another company, they're not making a living off of it. It's more about brand recognition when it comes to that. But if you can support an artisan, It's a lot like buying locally to a certain extent. Yeah. There's a lot of these artisans that are out there right now doing some really unique stuff you'll never hear from because they can't afford to compete with what's going on out there right now. Yeah. I luckily have been able to, but like it was just by sheer luck alone. So I'm very grateful for that, but support your small artisans directly.
And on that note, guys, I got to bounce.
All right, Marty.
I just want to say, Max, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for all that information, thank you for your time, and thanks for being here. Guys, I will see you guys next week.
Thank you, Marty. See you next week, sir.
Max.
I just want to give you guys a quick tip, kind of on what Douglas was talking about with scents, but this goes with colognes, and this comes from the coffee world. When you are looking at coffee and they have all these fancy names and it says stuff like it's got blueberry notes in it and strawberry and it has hints of I don't know, honey and stuff like this, and people drink the coffee and they're like, I don't taste that, I don't get that, I don't understand. Just do one simple thing, and do this with your soaps, do this with your aftershaves, do it with that tip that Douglas said with essential oils, do it with your colognes, spray it on and just ask yourself, why do I like this? Why do I like this? Keep training yourself to answer that question, and when you can answer why do I like this, then you'll start connecting things like, oh yeah, I like it because it reminds me of, or it tastes like vanilla, or same thing with your scents. You'll say, I like it because, and then it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about memory and stuff. And then also, kind of with the fragrances, supporting artisans. Max, there's a ton of small artisan kind of niche fragrances out there, like imaginary authors, and list off just a few real quick.
Shouts to Josh. So the house that I did my scent with, 4,160 Tuesdays, they got Unlucky Scent, but that's one woman out in London doing these fragrances. Josh is a friend of mine. I really like it. Imaginary authors. To me, like, talk about, like, I always make the argument. It's a really good point Doug made. You know, in fragrances, you have designer, you have indie, and niche. And designers are sitting in a room and they're looking at buzzwords and they're trying to appeal to people wearing flip-flops in a mall, going to Sephora. That's who that's for. Like, really, that's who those fragrances are for. And what unfortunately, what the niche houses are doing right now, they're trying to improve on designer scents and make better versions of designer scents. So it's really in the indie world where you have people who they're not answering to a board or a president. They don't have to justify the fragrances they're making. If they want to make them a little out there, they can do so. They are going to give you the best price they possibly can because they rely on you to eat. They're not getting a paycheck or a salary. And so they're taking the most risk. They're giving you the best prices. And in any really forum, especially when it comes to shaving and fragrances, that's really the group you should be supporting. I say that all the time. It really is. I mean, I like niche, don't get me wrong. Niche is great, but niche isn't really concerned. They're concerned with the bottom line because they want to, they want, usually a lot of time they want new cars. When you're talking about indie people, they're concerned with the bottom line because they want to eat and they want to grow their company. And so they're really committed to giving you the best product at the best price. And so, it wasn't a coincidence that the first collaboration I did was with an indie fragrance brand. I totally recommend supporting them. The ones I mentioned, you mentioned Imaginary Authors, 4,160 Tuesdays. En Voyage is one, West Third brand. there's a lot of them, and they all work really hard, and they're all putting out great product at great prices. So I totally echo that sentiment.
I can't remember the guy's name. Yeah. Do you know the guy? I think he's in Germany or Austria, and like he's named a bunch of scents. Like they're all like in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all like months.
Magnetic scents? Talking about Spiros?
I got July. It's like the bottle's not amazing, fantastic. Carl, what is his name?
Where did you get that, Rico? Did you get that?
I got that at Q Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that as well.
I don't know.
I'll have to ask you after the show. Corman. Mark.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Eric Corman.
Eric Corman. Yeah. Is he like? Is he an indie guy or is he?
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Like, there's a website, Indie Sense, and all those people out there. Yeah, he's on that website. So.
Oh, really? What's the website? What's the website?
IndieSense.com.
IndieSense.com.
It's actually Lucky Scent who owns Indie Sense, and it's sort of their shop.
You need to connect me with them, Max. You really need to connect me with them because I don't know.
Indie Sense?
Yeah, I don't communicate with them. I am so off the radar with this.
Yeah, well,
see,
actually,
David.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, David. I mean, I think he can kind of relate because he's a small, in a way, artisan. He does T-shirts, and he's now got his own soap and cologne. So I think he can relate to what you said.
Yeah.
And Douglas is in the same boat, even though he was mentioned in Forbes magazine.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
David is brilliant because David doesn't have to get his hands dirty. He's no, really though. He's a conceptualist.
Yeah.
He has a conception. He approaches the people to get the job done for him. He'll tell him what he wants, and we'll do it for him, and so on and so forth. He doesn't get his hands dirty. I respect that because I get my hands so freaking dirty.
To tell you the truth, I would love to get my hands dirty. I'm so damn not educated in anything, so it's like I have to actually contract people. I have so many ideas to swirl around in my brain, but unfortunately, since I have to get everything contracted out to other people, it costs
a lot.
It's like
a band leader.
Yeah, it really costs me more money to get my ideas out because I really have no freaking...
I was cheap, man. I was really cheap.
You know?
So, we maybe need to hook, if we could, Max, with say the name again, Santalum Fumis, right?
Yeah, Santalum Fumis.
Santalum Fumis? Okay.
Yeah. It's a wonderful scent. I got to smell that in Chicago when I met Douglas and David and a bunch of guys up there, and it's
I'll
awesome.
send you one, Max.
Okay, I have no problem. I'll do a video on it. I don't have a problem with that at all.
So, Con, do we have a question? Oh, go for it.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, I'll say some random crap, but no.
No, you're great, dude. We got like 3 minutes. We got time for one more question.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Will we ever see a Max shave video?
Oh.
Maybe, probably not. I mean, I don't know. It's possible. You never know. Like, I'll be honest with you, right now, like I just want to feature these artists and brands and do my fragrance reviews and get more into product development in terms of other fragrances. But you never say never on anything, right? Yeah. I don't know.
So Max, as a guy that doesn't do shaving videos, quick question. Some of us do videos and we shave on camera.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we kind of step back and we say, man, this is weird. People are watching me in my bathroom on YouTube. What do you think about that?
Well, people are watching me talk about a fragrance, you know, I think that's weird too. I don't think it's weird, you know, are those my favorite videos to watch? Definitely not, you know. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. Like, to me, you can't take anything away from your views. And if you're sitting on camera and you're getting 1 million views and you're just sitting there putting ketchup on a banana, then that's smart, you know, as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is right. YouTube is a business too, and
next video, guys, I'm doing it. Ketchup on a banana.
Yeah, no, I think. Well, I mean, you know, it's amazing. Like Max, like I started off the same way you do. It's like you only saw my hands, but eventually it progressed into okay, you see me now. Are we going to see that with you?
Probably. You know, like the thing is, right now, the job I do, like, they kind of weren't thrilled with the idea. I say some pretty crazy things sometimes on camera, and they weren't terribly excited about that. So the legal department actually spoke to me, and
oh wow.
so I don't know. Like I would say, probably at some point. I don't think I'm going to be at my job much longer, to be honest with you. And at that point, definitely, I'm going to make the switch. But for the time being, like, yeah, I'm going to just keep it the way it is.
You said something the other day. You said something the other day in your video that cracked me up.
What'd I say?
You said, "Gentlemen," I'm going to quote you. You said, "Gentlemen, shit." And then you were like, "Oh, that's you were like, that's an oxymoron."
Right,
and I was like, "That is so funny." Like,
yeah. Well, I say people tell me I say things all the time, and I'm like, "Are you sure I said that?" But yeah, I guess I do. I say things,
yeah.
You know? That's the fun of it too.
Yeah, it totally is the fun of it. Yeah. Anybody have any things you want to say real quick before we kind of close this out? Yes, no.
Just that I think it's very clear that Douglas Smythe has a man crush on Max.
No.
Yeah. For the record, I think it's pretty obvious to all of our Twitter followers.
It's all good.
Oh, did they say that? Did they say that?
Yeah, I didn't say
Max is awesome. Max is so unique.
Yeah.
This is why I like having Max on the show. Is like we typically have other wet shavers and so on and so forth. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I delve into both worlds. I'm a wet shaver. I'm also a frag head.
Well, of course.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like typically, like a lot of stuff I'm working on it's in a cabinet. It's in 2 cabinets. Yeah. It's hundreds of jars of different fragrances. I'm maturing. I'm perfuming. I'm not just splashing alcohol, fragrance, and water together. Like there's a process here. Yeah. Max gets it. Max talks about that, and like so few. I mean, like this doesn't often jive with the wet shaving world. So like I appreciate Max, and
I think it's crazy though that it's not like more people aren't doing both. Like to me that's so weird because to me they really go with each other.
Yeah.
Max, they just splash together. A lot of people out there are just splashing fragrance, alcohol, and water together and then selling it. They're not maturing it. They're not perfuming. And like you and I, like we both come from the East Coast, which is really cool. And we both, I think we keep it real. There's like a street value to what we do. Granted, I mean, like we go up and down. I mean, like we have our standards are up here, but we understand it all and we apply it all to what we do. So there's a whole street element that I don't think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people get really pretentious with this stuff, especially when they're talking and marketing with it. They get really pretentious. It's like that like totally alienates me from what you're doing. Isn't what I'm about.
Well, they could
like when I see Max doing when I see what Max is doing, I respect that instantaneously. Especially all the crap he takes too. I see a lot of these comments and whatnot about Max and what he's doing, and it's like, no, what Max is doing is real, and like it really, like it's just there's a street level to it that I respect, and again,
I think
props.
Success, like if you're doing anything well, it's like the gentleman said earlier, if you're doing anything well. There's 2 types of people. There's some people that really want to encourage you to do that, and they think, wow, I could do that too. And that's cool that this guy's doing it. And then there's this other class of people that are like, man, I don't like that he's doing this. I don't like that he's doing this well. And you can't be mad at that guy because, I don't know these people, that say these things. So at the end of the day, man, it's noise. And I'm sitting there making videos on cologne, and if you're actually sitting there negatively commenting on me making videos on cologne, like what is going on in your life that you have the time to do that?
Yes.
I can't be mad.
It says more about them than you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and we deal with this all the time. I think all of us that have made videos or are kind of out in the public, we've dealt with this. Well, guys, I think that is going to be kind of it for our show this week. I want to thank Max for being on the show. Max, we love your videos.
Thank you.
I've been watching them
for a long time. We need to get Max here. Like once a month, we should. The last week of every month, we should have Max on.
I'm cool with it.
If you'd like to be back on, we'd love to have you back on.
Cool with it.
This is really cool. There's so many What'd you say, David?
Let the bromance
Let the bromance continue.
Watch the development of Max and Douglas's bromance mature and develop.
Well, he gets me. He gets me.
Whatever sells, right?
Yeah. Well,
whatever they want to see.
I just want to say, Douglas points this out a lot, and we don't need to delve into this, but I just want to say Max is a really great reviewer.
Thank you.
He really kind of explains the history on the person that makes the cologne. He kind of delves into that, and he really delves into the scents. He goes through it. He to me is a top-notch reviewer online.
He is.
And he's got
few reviewers.
Yeah.
So
he's got a top-notch nose because he's mentioned so many things that I blind bought this just based off of his video and a few other guys' recommendations. I love this stuff.
And I will get you all samples of Maxed Out.
Well, thank you, sir. We are looking forward to that. That's awesome. We'll hook up. We'll hook up after the show and get you info for that.
Right.
So again, I just want to thank Max for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Max, if people wanted to find you online, where would they go?
Or your cologne.
Or your cologne. And the
so
decant shop.
Decant shop. You can use coupon code MAX12. And just one other thing I'll say real quick, I do that, Doug has listened to this. I with my best friend do a podcast every week where we just talk shit for a half hour.
Oh yeah,
it's a very entertaining show.
You think I
say
awesome?
Crazy. It's not safe for work though.
No, it's called Please Leave Me Alone. It's on SoundCloud, so you can check that out. Yeah. And anywhere you want to find me, just go to YouTube, Google, and type in Maximilian Must Know. You'll find me.
Yep. David, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and on Twitter under the name David.
Say it one more time.
On Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube under SoSharpDavid or SoSharpLimited.com.
Yep. And Con, the man who never wants to be found, but if you want to find him just by accident, where would you go to find you?
Shave the Man on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, VoiceBite.
ShaveTheMan.com.au.
And the guy I always dread to ask this question because he's got a bazillion websites and tags and hashtags. Douglas, where can people find you, sir?
Okay. HowToGrowMustache.com, and it's mustache as in mustache. Phoenix Arts and Accoutrements.com, Mustache and Blade Show, or MustacheBlade.com, or Douglas at MustacheBlade.com. And then lastly, Con, I'm sorry, what's my email address for our podcast? I love it.
It's Douglas at Cutting Edge Wet Shave Podcast.com.
All right.
That's how you can cut it.
All right. And I am Rico's Corner, your host for this week. Like always, we will be here again at 7 p.m. EDT, Eau de Toilette, or 9 a.m. AEST. And you can find me on YouTube at Rico's Corner, on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Rico's Corner. Or ricoscorner.com or something like that. Rico's Corner Cafe.
No, it gets weird though. It's like youtube.com/Rico's Coffee.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm a coffee dude, so that's why. But thanks, guys, for watching the show. Thanks for asking us your questions. Again, you can always reach us at WS Roundtable on Twitter, and we will be back next week. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Please do. Ciao.